And welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Rupert Bergmann. He's from Austria, a baritone, rich in history. Rupert, it's like almost 6 years. We haven't spoke since our last interview. It's really a pleasure to have you on today.
Thanks a lot, Errol, for the invitation to this interview. And it's exactly 6 years, actually.
Well, look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. So Rupert, just for those who don't know who you are, could you basically explain a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I am at the moment sitting here in Austria in late afternoon, and I'm an opera singer. I have been working as an opera singer for over 30 years. And I did a lot of stuff like operetta and contemporary music. And at the moment, I'm a little on my way to retire and to focus more on spirituality, Christian, Franciscan spirituality. So it is exciting, and I still do my project as an artist, focusing both on music and on religion. And maybe we talk a little about that.
Definitely, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Religion and arts, so that's beautiful.
Yeah. Actually, religion was always a very important part of music history, for over 2,000 years, even before in Jewish times. The music was very important, and they had the trumpets, we talk about in the Psalms and so on. So up to the day, this is an important part of religious belief, at least of the Judeo-Christian religious beliefs, So, but maybe to say a little more about on my biography, I was born in Graz, which is a second largest city in Austria, and I went there to high school and studied there at the University of Music Academy, and then moved to the Greater Vienna area about almost 30 years ago, and have been living here ever since, and worked with several companies. I toured also around Europe, and that's how we met. I went a couple of times, or actually often, to the East Coast of the United States, because my sister, I have 4 siblings, and my sister is living in near Boston, and she's also a musician. And on one of my visits, I had a project with an Ukrainian singer, and we, together with the singer Olga Lisovska, we met you at the studio and had an interview at Newton TV, and and a part of that, speaking of Ukrainian or the Ukraine, one of my major focuses was also going to the Ukraine on a regular basis to be a part of festivals, mostly in Odessa. Actually, I went in 1997 for the first time to Odessa for a festival of contemporary music, and made my contacts there, and from there on, I almost went there on a regular basis until this year, actually, after the war, and maybe I will go later this year, despite the situation. So this was one of my other focuses. Several festivals in Austria, and now, of course, I do a lot of church music. I sing at church every Sunday, or play the organ, or be the lector. Or what to be clear, I'm Roman Catholic. So,
that's good. That's great.
Maybe one should say that for an audience in United States.
Well, here Massachusetts is basically a Catholic-oriented state, so that's pretty fine.
That's
one thing you would have mentioned, though, I want to ask you about. You mentioned Croatia, Austria, and Ukraine. There's some similarity in cultural music.
Well, actually, Ukrainian art is more oriented to the east. You know, maybe if you say it's the world of Russian culture, you cannot. This is not really accurate to say, but it's different from our music tradition, actually, a little. I mean, of course, we are related, and there was a lot of cultural influence from Western Ukraine. You know, Lviv, where I have been last October for this festival, Lviv, Lemberg in German, was a very important city of the Austrian-Hungarian emperor, so there, over the last few hundreds of years, there were many relations, cultural relations, political and so on relations. So you cannot really say it is the same, but you also cannot say it's totally different. You know, we are so close actually in to compare it with the United States or with other continents, Africa. So where distance is so far, but it is, for example, from Vienna to the Ukrainian border, it's about 500 kilometers or so, and to Odessa, it's only 1,000. It is closer to go to. Odessa is closer than Paris, you know. No, it is the same distance than Rome. So we are very, very, very related. Yeah, I would say that. It's the same, by the way, with Croatia, even closer.
Let me ask you this question: with a displaced Ukrainian traumatized culture right now as it stands, do you see the war has any future negative effects on how the arts are being looked at this present moment? Would you have the same kind of feel for music like it was before?
Well, of course, it impacts. It has an impact. It has an impact above all on the artists. You know, on the artists living in Ukraine. I'm thinking of my friends in Odessa, of who some, the female ones, they left the country. You know, the young female ones with their children, they left the country. The young males, they are not allowed because they have to stay by law.
Right.
They are forced to stay because maybe they are drafted into the army once.
Yes.
And the elder ones, they say, or at least my friends say, we do not leave. It is our country. We stay, even if the circumstances are bad, or even the life gets worse and worse. But it is our country, and there will be better times also. One day, no. So, and this is one thing I would say. I mean, as I told you, I have been to this festival in Lviv last October, and I probably will go later this year to another festival. I had the impression being there that the people really want to keep on with their daily life despite the situation, you know. And when I was there in October, it was a lot of people outside. It was nice weather, sitting in the cafeteria, you know, on the main square. So it was almost normal. You could, and you had the feeling they want to have this. They don't want to get this destructive mindset, you know.
Right.
So I think, and the impact. Well, you on the long term, you really cannot say. I mean, if this conflict carries on, and more people emigrate, from more and more people and more artists leave the country, maybe it is a loss. But still, the big cultural institutions, they seem to work. You know, the opera houses, they have their regular performances. I see on Facebook, they are all the time posting pictures of their productions and so on. So maybe it is not so extreme, the effect on it on the long, speaking on.
Because I was basically examining the origin of the music as it exported, as people migrate from Ukraine into other countries. They're going to carry that same flavor of music with them.
Sure.
But for those who stay back and become traumatized, I think the perception and how they see things may change. It may mentally alter the way of how it affects the flavor of music, how it used to be seen out of an original eye before. It may now be different. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
I definitely think that the situation reflects in the artwork, in the music. In that, what I'm speaking of, more contemporary music of creators who write their music, and I have somehow strange episode, because to tell in this respect. 8 years or now 9 years ago, when this conflict started with Maidan and the Crimea situation, I went to Odessa, and before that, a female composer, who had written totally crazy atonal stuff. Then she wrote a new piece, and this was more soft and tonal and nice to listen to, I say. And I asked her, why do you suddenly change your writing? And she said, well, the situation around is so crazy with this Crimea situation and so on, that we better have, I paraphrase, nice music. Or good music for the soul. So there is definitely a reflection on the situation by the artists, and I know it also from the very young ones. They try also to some reflect it and some totally escape. You know, they totally don't want to confront themselves with these things. So I think there is a variety of reactions on this situation.
Absolutely. Yes, because I'm one of those who firmly believe that the expression of music centers around both your psychological and your inner emotions, and how it is being produced to a community that somewhat builds the fabric. That music. I want to look at it from the standpoint, in the church, the philosophical view of religion and music, because as you said earlier, that religion and music always coincide with each other. And I found that in our modern day religion, even though people go and worship and sing worship songs, you can't feel or see the sacredness surrounding that music. It's just like the secular music. And I think when you're going to worship and give religious meanings to sound, that you should be able to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit in that. There should be some kind of sacredness in it. And there's a wide deviation from that. What's your perception on that?
Yes, exactly. I think that there is a lot of music, but not all of it is fits within the religious context, and maybe there are a couple of things to say. Of course, liturgy comes from the spoken word, logos, John 1.
Right.
And if you come from there, of course, the music has to, I don't say it has to serve, but has to go along with the word. Yeah. So that's the first point. But what music can do is to give the word a new and additional world, and a new, a new realm, and a new area. Yeah, it elevates the word. It has the potential to elevate the word, and I think that could be the criteria that this is the music for worship, for liturgy, that is able to do that. And other music which is always which is, you also can say, maybe you can say a modern kind of music, like rock or pop music, maybe is not so fitting because it does not allow to enter to elevate the word so much. I mean, why I say that? Because I have I recently read a book by the late Pope Benedict the 16th, or Joseph Ratzinger, who was very fond of music and who reflected a lot on this on the relation between liturgy and music, and he clearly says that music can elevate the word. So it is not on my own idea, and he says also this long church music tradition that we have, be it the Gregorian chant. I don't know if you said it in English like that, from the Middle Ages, or later the polyphonic masses, and later Mozart and Bach and Bruckner and so on. All this, there is not also a contemporary music which can, that there are very nice songs. One I was not really contemporary, but it is 19th century by Philip Bliss. It is Well With My Soul is a wonderful song.
Beautiful song.
Which very much elevates, I think, the word. And there is for sure songs of the 21st, even 21st century who are able to do that. But as a church musician, you maybe should always have this in mind. The word is important to elevate the word with the music, I think. So, I mean, what is your take on that?
Yeah, well, one thing I hope and believe in, that the universities and colleges that teach the performing arts maintain the foundation of traditional music. I think it establishes the foundation for other art forms, other forms of music. And when I look around today, the generation is actually breaking away from the old traditional form of music to some extent. But I often wonder what would be the economic benefactors for those who maintain the old structured art form. Would it go away in the next 2 generations from now, or would it be consistently preserved through colleges and universities? What do you think?
Unfortunately, the audio was a little interrupted.
Oh, the audio was bad.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, I'll repeat it. Yes. So I was stating that will the universities and college consistently maintain the old foundation of music? Because if you want to look at the economic benefactors in it, it doesn't matter how music is being deviated from the foundation of music in its sense, it still needs that old traditional art form. The lyrics, the psychology of it, everything I believe is embodied within that old music art form from whence it really came. What you think is the vision in colleges? I don't know if you may know this question. When it comes to the old art form, will they consistently preserve it and teach it as the basic to all
it's
generations?
Again interrupted. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me summarize.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore.
Okay. Oh, you can hear me? Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's again, the
Right.
internet. Okay.
Yes, the internet, yes. So let me summarize it shortly.
Yeah.
Will colleges and universities maintain the foundation in music of the old traditional style of music?
Yeah, I think it is very important to, as a musician, to have this traditional this foundation of traditional music. I mean, even if you do a very contemporary pop style music or that what you do maybe in evangelical context, even if you do that, it is very good to have this classical foundation. I mean, not only the technique, how to play an instrument or how to sing, but also the mindset where it came from, you know. And so I can really encourage young musicians to get somewhere, not necessarily on an academy, but there might be very good private teachers who can pass that on if they have got them by themselves, you know. But get this foundation of harmony, of even the knowledge about the composers, you know. You don't need to listen to each mass or each church song by Mozart or Bach or so on, but get to know these things and try to do them by yourself. I mean, I do church music on a regular basis, on two times a week. One time on Sunday, one time on Thursday morning mass. And often I try to sing a solo, to sing a song or a little aria, what comes out of a church music a piece. So what is part of a church music? So try to incorporate this traditional repertoire into your own,
Absolutely.
into your own individual church music acting, so to say.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think classical and opera would be around for a long time, considering now in this new generation?
Well, classical opera is as you say, classical. It is. Yeah,
it is preserved. It is preserved among a lot of young people in schools and colleges.
I encourage also to teach this style, this kind of art. Of course, it is more from the past than from our times.
Yes.
But still, there are a lot of contemporary composers who write nice pieces.
Yes.
Like I try to ask young composers to write for me. Like I had asked this to write about this piece about Job or about Paul, but the problem today is that opera always needs to have a staging, it needs to have a presentation, and for a couple of decades, the presentations, speaking of the sets and of the and so on, tends to be very modern, meaning that the stage directors try to communicate more their own interpretation than the intentions of the creators of the pieces, and this is a problem that I personally really see as very grave, because there are many, especially young stage directors, who try to twist and turn around the pieces and tell stories that are not but that would fit in their personal ideological narrative or whatever, you know.
Yes.
So I'm not very happy with this development. Still, I would recommend you can go to the website of the Metropolitan Opera New York, for example. They broadcast their productions, and they sometimes have very nice, even a little old-fashioned things, or maybe also other producers who respect, and I think this is the important point, who respect the intention of the writer and of the composer.
Beautiful. Well, Rupert, we have come to the end of this program. 30 minutes fly really quickly, goes by fast.
Yeah.
Right. But it was really a pleasure having you on, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you.
Definitely. And for all those who have been tuning in on Living in the 21st Century, I want to say to you, have a nice day.